darkness blankens the abandoned halls of Sweetwater Mansion. The air is thick with the weight of time, the echoes of the past lingering just beneath the surface. Doors groan in protest if disturbed by unseen hands. The chill of the night wraps around you, and the whisper of something unseen brushes past your ear. A flicker of movement in the corner of your vision, a shadow where there should be none. Footsteps echo on empty staircases, voices murmur from rooms long forgotten. A caretaker, decades ago, claimed to have witnessed a funeral before it ever happened. Others have felt hands grasp at them from the darkness, only to turn and find nothing there. Tonight, we step into the past, into the legends, and into the darkness that still clings to Sweetwater Mansion, one of Alabama's most haunted estates. Welcome to Hauntings and Happenings, the podcast where we explore the eerie, the unexplained, and the downright terrifying. I'm your host, Casey, and in this episode we delve into the spectral mysteries of Sweetwater Mansion. Over the course of this episode, we'll uncover the mansion's storied history from its grand beginnings to its dark past. The chilling encounters reported by caretakers, investigators, and unsuspecting victims. The paranormal theories that surround the mansion. Are these spirits echoes of the past? Or are they still watching? And what lies within the hidden locked rooms of Sweetwater Mansion? So, settle in, turn off the lights, and ask yourself, if walls could talk, would you dare to listen? Sweetwater Mansion, also known as the Governor Robert Patton House, was built in the early 1800s. According to the Haunted States and Citizendium, construction began in 1828 under General John Barhan, a veteran of the War of 1812. Barhan owned over 4,000 acres of land, and though he designed the mansion, he never lived to see its completion. The mansion, completed in 1835 by Barhan's son-in-law, Robert M. Patton, was a grand two-story brick structure featuring Italian marble fireplaces, ornate crown moldings, and bricks made from clay on the estate. The property included extensive gardens, a dairy, a weaving house, and a slave village consisting of 23 cabins. Sweetwater Mansion was not just a home, but a working plantation, heavily reliant on enslaved labor. Many of the enslaved people who lived and worked on the estate remain unnamed in history, though some records indicate their burial in an unmarked cemetery on the property. Accounts suggest the plantation's workforce cultivated cotton, raised livestock, and maintained the grand estate's numerous outbuildings, which housed tools, provisions, and essential supplies. The mansion played a role in the Civil War, serving as a Confederate field hospital and later as the temporary Union headquarters. Sherman's troops raided the property during their march through Alabama, looting valuables and food. One famous account tells of a family servant named Edmund Patton standing his ground against soldiers attempting to search the home. After the war, Robert Patton became governor of Alabama during Reconstruction, overseeing efforts to stabilize the state's post-war economy. However, tragedy continued to plague the family. Two of Patton's sons, Billy and Robert Weekly Patton, died in the war, and their deaths are closely tied to the mansion's ghostly lore. In the 20th century, Sweetwater Mansion changed ownership several times, falling into neglect. Despite efforts to restore the estate, vandalism and time took their toll, leading to the home's steady decline. Local preservation groups have made multiple attempts to revitalize the mansion, yet ongoing financial constraints and structural damage remain obstacles. The mansion was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1976, yet its fate remains uncertain as restoration battles continue. With its long and complicated history, filled with war, suffering, and loss, perhaps it's no wonder that many believed spirits still linger in its walls. Sweetwater Mansion is infamous for its chilling paranormal encounters, and countless visitors have reported eerie experiences. Some claim to see shadowy figures lurking in corridors, while others describe a heavy, suffocating atmosphere in certain rooms. One of the most famous hauntings involves the coffin in the parlor. A former caretaker reported seeing an elaborate funeral setup in the mansion's parlor, complete with a casket and mourners dressed in 19th century attire. But the chilling part? The funeral hadn't yet happened. Later, it was confirmed that a wake for Billy Patton, a Confederate soldier and son of Robert Patton, was held in that very room. There's also the mysterious locked room, a room in the mansion notorious for trapping victims inside. Women, in particular, have reported the sensation of the door locking behind them, leaving them unable to escape. Paranormal investigators believe an unseen force may be responsible. The mansion's basement harbors the secret room, a chamber with no clear entrance that can only be seen through a small barred window. Some believe it was a burial site for Patton family members, or even a hiding place for Confederate gold. Visitors report hearing whispers from within and glimpsing eerie movements in the darkness. EVP recordings have captured unexplained voices, some warning visitors to leave. Others whisper in unintelligible phrases. Investigators have also captured images of ghostly figures, including one that resembles a Confederate soldier standing solemnly on the front lawn. Furniture has been known to move on its own, and visitors have reported sudden drops in temperature. Some claim to hear the distant sound of music playing, as though an invisible gathering is taking place beyond the veil. With so many reports, Sweetwater Mansion remains one of Alabama's most haunted locations. Could these spirits be former residents lingering in their beloved home? Or is it something more sinister at play? What causes the strange phenomena at Sweetwater Mansion? Paranormal investigators and skeptics alike have proposed several theories to explain the hauntings. One widely accepted explanation is the concept of residual hauntings. This theory suggests that the energy of past events, especially traumatic or highly emotional moments, can imprint themselves on a location, much like a recording. This could explain sightings like the coffin in the parlor, where people claim to see the same funeral replaying over and over again. Residual hauntings do not involve conscious spirits, but rather they are echoes of the past, endlessly repeating in time. On the other hand, some investigators believe intelligent hauntings are at work at Sweetwater. These spirits are thought to be aware of their surroundings and capable of interacting with the living. The mysterious locked room is often cited as an example. Doors locking and unlocking on their own, whispers heard by trapped visitors, and strange, seemingly purposeful movements of objects. If these accounts are true, then something, or someone, may be reaching out. Another theory is the energy imprint theory, which posits that violent deaths, suffering, or high emotional distress can leave behind a psychic residue. Given Sweetwater Mansion's long history of war, enslavement, and tragedy, it's possible that the energy of past lives still lingers, manifesting as cold spots, disembodied voices, or shadowy figures. The stone tape theory suggests that certain building materials, such as limestone or quartz, may have the ability to absorb and replay emotional energy. Some believe that the very bricks of Sweetwater Mansion could be acting as a type of recording device, replaying historical moments under the right conditions. If true, this could account for some of the reported apparitions and ghostly encounters. For skeptics, however, many of the reported hauntings can be explained away by environmental factors. The age of the mansion means creaking floorboards, drafty windows, and shifting foundations could all contribute to sounds and sensations mistaken for paranormal activity. Psychological factors such as suggestion and expectation also play a significant role. If someone visits the mansion expecting to see ghosts, their mind may interpret otherwise normal occurrences as supernatural. There's also the possibility of infrasound, low-frequency sound waves that are known to cause feelings of unease, anxiety, and even hallucinations. Some researchers believe that infrasound, caused by natural or man-made sources, such as wind passing through an old structure, could be responsible for the eerie feelings and strange auditory phenomena reported at Sweetwater Mansion. Another scientific theory involves electromagnetic fields, or EMF. High EMF exposure, particularly in older homes with outdated wiring, has been linked to symptoms such as paranoia, dizziness, and auditory hallucinations. Paranormal investigators often use EMF detectors to measure fluctuations, as some believe that spirits manipulate these fields to manifest. Mass hysteria and collective memory could also be playing a role. The human mind is highly suggestible, and when enough people believe in a haunting, it can influence others into experiencing similar phenomena. If a visitor already heard or is already familiar with Sweetwater's haunted reputation, they may subconsciously interpret normal environmental factors as paranormal activity. And then, of course, there's the influence of folklore. Stories of hauntings tend to grow over time, and each generation has its own embellishments. Some claim that reports of ghosts at Sweetwater Mansion date back over 100 years. But historical records of documented hauntings are scarce. Could it be that the reputation of the mansion itself is fueling new stories, shaping visitors' experiences before they even step inside? Whatever the truth may be, the haunting of Sweetwater Mansion remains one of Alabama's most enduring mysteries. Are the spirits of its past owners and inhabitants still walking its halls? Or are the strange occurrences simply tricks of the mind, amplified by expectation and history? The answer, it seems, is still waiting to be uncovered. Many visitors, caretakers, and paranormal investigators have shared chilling personal experiences from their time inside Sweetwater Mansion. Some of these stories come from those who lived and worked in the house, while others have been recorded by professional ghost hunters and researchers. One of the most well-documented cases comes from a former caretaker who claimed to have repeatedly witnessed the coffin in the parlor vision. She described an overwhelming sense of sorrow, almost as if she were stepping into a past moment. Paranormal teams investigating this phenomenon have captured unusual energy fluctuations and EVP, electronic voice phenomena, recordings that sound like muffled sobbing. Karen and Robert Simone from Ghost reported being physically pushed down the stairs, witnessing a ceiling tile fly across the room, and watching a chair move on its own. Other investigators captured an eerie image of what appeared to be a Civil War soldier standing outside the mansion. Another eerie report involves the mysterious locked room. Investigators visiting the mansion have documented electromagnetic anomalies in and around the room, suggesting an unexplained energy source. Some visitors who have found themselves trapped inside recall hearing a soft laughter or whispers just before the door mysteriously unlocked on its own. Several female visitors have been inexplicably locked inside this room, and some speculate that the spirit of Billy Patton could be responsible, either playing tricks or trying to prevent intrusions. Early caretaker Emmett Letty Regan was reportedly so terrified of the hauntings that she limited herself to living in only 2 rooms. Paranormal State investigators documented a moving door on its own, the sound of heavy footsteps, a board sliding across the floor, and what sounded like a body falling. They also photographed what appeared to be 2 child apparitions. Photographic evidence collected over the years includes ghostly apparitions, light anomalies, and an eerie image of what appears to be that Civil War soldier standing on the grounds. Investigators using thermal cameras have recorded inexplicable cold spots in the areas where no air vents or windows could account for the temperature drop. And visitors frequently report hearing the sound of children laughing in empty rooms. Some guests claim to hear whispered prayers as if unseen mourners are still attending a funeral. Objects, including chairs and boards, have been seen moving without explanation. Even skeptics who have visited Sweetwater Mansion admit to feeling an unshakable heaviness in certain rooms, particularly in the basement and near the staircase. Some report unexplained headaches, dizziness, or a sense of being watched. Symptoms commonly associated with high EMF levels or infrasound exposure. While definitive proof of ghosts remains elusive, the sheer volume of first-hand accounts and documented paranormal evidence makes Sweetwater Mansion one of the most compelling haunted locations in Alabama. Whether you believe in spirits or not, those who have stepped inside its halls rarely leave without an unforgettable story. So why do we believe in haunted houses? What is it about places like Sweetwater Mansion that make us feel like we've stepped into the supernatural? Science offers more fascinating explanations. Psychologists have long studied why people experience hauntings, and much of it comes down to cognitive bias. According to a report from IFL Science, belief in ghosts tends to spike during times of uncertainty, like economic downturn or pandemics, as people seek explanations for things they cannot control. In fact, studies show that stress can make people more likely to attribute unexplained events to supernatural causes. Another factor is suggestibility. The BBC reports that when individuals are told a place is haunted, they are far more likely to interpret normal occurrences, like drafts, creaky floors, or flickering lights, as paranormal activity. This phenomenon has been studied in controlled environments where participants reported haunt-like experiences simply because they were primed to expect them. A 1997 study found that individuals who were told a theater was haunted reported significantly more ghostly experiences than those who were simply told it was undergoing renovations. Environmental factors also play a significant role. A study by Clarkson University found that haunted locations often have high levels of mold, which can cause hallucinations, dizziness, and feelings of dread. Similarly, infrasound, those low-frequency sound waves, have been found to create unsettling sensations, including anxiety and a sense of a presence in the room. EMF are also thought to impact brain function in ways that can induce feelings of paranoia or the sensation of being watched. The human brain is wired for agent detection. Our survival instincts compel us to assume that ambiguous stimuli, such as strange noises or flickering shadows, are caused by an intelligent agent. Psychology today explains that this mechanism, which evolved to keep us alert to predators, may explain why we perceive supernatural presences even when none exist. Sleep paralysis is another common explanation for ghostly encounters, as it can produce vivid hallucinations of shadowy figures looming over a person's bed. Religious and cultural influences also shape how people interpret hauntings. The U.S. Ghost Adventures report suggests that belief in ghosts is closely tied to cultural traditions, spiritual practices, and personal religious views, with some seeing spirits as ancestral guides and others as vengeful entities. In some cultures, hauntings are linked to spirits who are unable to move on due to unfinished business, while in others, ghosts are seen as guardians or omens of future events. Interestingly, stories of spectral figures exist in nearly every civilization, reinforcing the idea that ghostly encounters are deeply ingrained in human storytelling and mythology. Additionally, the architecture and design of a location can contribute to its feelings of unease. Dim lighting, narrow hallways, high ceilings, and the presence of antique objects can make a space feel more eerie. A study in Psychology Today found that people associated certain architectural features, such as old Victorian homes, abandoned buildings, and locations with tragic histories, with hauntings, which, in turn, heightens their perception of paranormal activity. Interestingly, a 2021 poll found that 20% of respondents claimed to have personally encountered a spirit, while nearly half of Americans believe in ghosts. With ghost stories embedded in pop culture, folklore, and personal experience, it's no wonder that places like Sweetwater Mansion continue to hold their haunted reputations. So, is Sweetwater Mansion truly haunted? Or is it simply the perfect storm of environmental and psychological factors? The answer may depend on who you ask. But one thing's for certain. The stories surrounding this eerie Alabama estate are enough to keep its legend alive for generations to come. The halls of Sweetwater Mansion stand in eerie silence. But are they truly empty? The shadows stretch long in the dim light, and the whispers of history echo through the halls. Is it the weight of the past pressing down on those who enter? Or is something, or someone, still lingering unseen? As we've explored, science provides explanations for why we experience hauntings. Psychological tendencies, environmental factors, and cultural conditioning all play a role. But stories of the unexplained persist. Witnesses have seen figures standing at the windows, heard footsteps pacing the hallways, and felt the unmistakable touch of hands reaching from the dark. Perhaps Sweetwater Mansion is just another old house filled with echoes of time. Or perhaps, as so many have claimed, the spirits of the past refuse to leave. If you ever find yourself walking its grounds, passing through the grand entryway, or standing in the parlor where a funeral once played out before its time, listen carefully. Watch closely. You might just become part of the next chapter in Sweetwater's haunted history. Thank you for joining us on today's journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this episode of Hauntings and Happenings, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with fellow seekers of the strange. Got a story, theory, or a haunted hotspot you want us to explore? Reach out to us at our email, hauntingsandhappenings@gmail.com, and you might just hear it in a future episode. Remember, the world is full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and together, we'll keep searching. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, stay spooky, and of course, keep it weird.